the $5 million Queen of Vegas. If you haven't seen the headlines, the MVP herself, Asia Wilson, she just reset the market. We ain't just talking about a good contract. We talking about a historic, glass-shattering, 3-year, $5 million Supermax deal to stay with the Las Vegas Aces. I call it.
You do what I'm saying? We all famous. I drop my top right now and this big go brainless. Mama, I made it.
Welcome to the We All Famous show. I'm Simbo. This is my partner, CL. What it do, man?
Yo, we gotta make it about you. You called.
Man, I called it.
We called it together, kind of, because I agree with you.
You agreed with me, but I called it. You could have beat me to the punch, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? I called it.
Yeah, I was gonna wear my Vegas stuff, baby. But every time I put my stuff on, you calling me zest, like I'm a stud bug.
No, but look, let me do this here. You see, but since we talking about Big Vegas and Big Asia, let me go ahead and put on the let's go and get in the mood. You see it. You see it, these the A's, they getting ready to move to Big Vegas. Yes, you know what I'm saying? So I will be there at the win, even though I am an Astros fan, first and foremost. But look, let's get to it, man. Mm-hmm. So, the bag. Let's break down the numbers. Let's look at it on the math because it's staggering compared to what the league was just 12 months ago. The total is $5 million over 3 years. The annual roughly is about $1.4 million in 2026 alone. So, under the previous CBA, the max was around $250K. You know, you couldn't even, get a crib or nothing like that. Asia just quadrupled the ceiling. She's taking up 20% of the team's total salary cap. And honestly, she's still underpaid for what she brings to that city.
Yeah, she is definitely underpaid, especially what she done for the city. Not bring what she done brought already. But she done already brought, 3 championships, 4 MVP, and current champion right now. But, fully guaranteed. So that's the great thing about it. It's fully guaranteed.
It's fully guaranteed, but let's ask the question, why now? Asia's coming off a 2025 season that was, quite frankly, offensive to the rest of the league. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she became the first player to sweep the scoring title, the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and the Finals MVP all in one. You don't let go of one-on-one talent like that. Not even for Kayla. You just don't let her go. You know what I'm saying? But I was just bet that was a joke.
I know.
So
I already know.
So all you sensitive people, that was a joke. You don't let go of one-of-one talent like that, even if it looked like, she could go on the open market. You got to lock her in. She's locked in.
But she already put a disclaimer in anyway that she was staying in Vegas. She wasn't going nowhere. So I knew they was going to work something out when she said a couple of weeks ago that I'm staying in Vegas. So I knew something was in the works. I just didn't know what was in the works, but now we see what was actually.
Again, I'm glad you just said you didn't know what was in the works. I knew she was going to be the first super max player. Look, she locked in. The dynasty is intact. The Aces are bringing back 90% of their scoring power. So how you feel about that, fanboy?
Hey, I feel great about it, and I think we could food runner might come back and repeat again. Might be another repeat.
It's possible, but look, that ain't the only bag she get. The A2. I know you don't know nothing about that because you're not really a fan of the W. You just a casual fanboy. But the A2 and the Nike Empire, they just gave her a bag. Asia just dropped her signature Nike A2 back in March. You know what I'm saying? Between her record-breaking 6-year Nike extension and her portfolio with Gatorade and Ruffles, she's just not a basketball player anymore. She's a conglomerate. You know what I'm saying? Asia, hey man, Asia the real deal. I'm glad she's getting all these accolades, all the money that goes along with the work and everything she put in. I'm happy for her.
Well, she's definitely a brand right now. She branded herself properly.
Yeah.
And it's just due based on her performances. If it wasn't for the way she performed, she wouldn't be getting all the accolades she got. So it comes with what she actually doing on the basketball court, what she doing for the W, what she doing for the Aces. So that's what everything actually boils down to, her performance. Because if it wasn't what she was doing on the court, she wouldn't have any of these endorsements.
Nothing, nada. But that's why I called it first. because of all the work she's putting in. It made it easy for me to recognize that.
You weren't on bad, but you weren't on there last year when she was hurt. When we talking about you weren't on when she was talking about she was hurt. You weren't on her then.
I don't recall that.
I know.
I don't recall that. I'm not owning them. I'm not even.
She was hurt last year. Like, you were talking about my team wasn't going to even make the playoff.
They shouldn't have. But again, I'm not owning the bandwagon. I'm just saying I'm calling it because my eyes, it see what's really going on.
If y'all go back and know this man here had Caitlin Clark in his mouth every time you look around, and they say that he was talking about how them raggedy wenches was riding horse and buggy, flying Spirit Airlines and everything. Now you want to switch up and
I didn't say
and P-Ride.
I didn't say
Asia.
I didn't
want
say
to P-Ride.
I didn't say raggedy wenches. I said beautiful black women. Yeah, they was riding. They was riding coach buses. I'm never scared. They was riding coach buses, getting rooms at the Super 8. And this ain't about Caitlin. We can do a whole show on Caitlin, and I'm gonna be just as enthusiastic about that too. Okay. So this ain't about Caitlin. See, you bringing in Caitlin. I'm trying to get Asia some shot.
Yeah, she get hers anyway.
Yeah. But look, the most interesting part of this deal is that Chennedy Carter's back. The Aces also signed Chennedy Carter to a training camp deal. So you got the face of the league, the most decorated player on Mount Everest, as like her coach Becky Hammer says, pairing up with one of the most polarizing, high-octane guards in the league. Do you know who Chennedy is?
Yeah, I do.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, I never heard of.
You know who Jackie Young is? Yeah. Who also got $1.14 million already? You know who she is?
Yeah, I know all the Aces players. They stack. You know what I'm saying? They stack. You know what I mean? I know them all. Matter of fact, I kind of got to tell you about Jackie Young. You didn't like Jackie Young.
No, I didn't like them going to get Jewel Lloyd because I say, why go get Jewel Lloyd when her game is similar to Jackie Young? I say, why go get Jewel Lloyd? That's what I see.
Well,
get it right. Don't put words in my mouth, bro.
Look, man, Vegas ain't just building a team. They building a show. So if I go pay my money to go stay at my home away from home to win, I don't mind spending a couple of dollars to go down the street to see the Aces.
Yeah.
When they play Caitlin, though.
Yes.
I'm not going no other time. But when they playing Caitlin, though, I'm in the building, probably on the floor.
I'm being the Trump International.
Yeah.
Where they'll have resort fees and none of that there. And it's nice and luxurious off in Trump Plaza. Nice view of the Sphere and the wind. I can see y'all from my window.
Cool. You know what I'm saying? That's good. But look, the message from the Aces is clear. If you're the best, we go pay you like you're the best. So Asia Wilson didn't just sign a contract. She just gave every little girl hooping right now a new North Star for what is possible. They can go get that bag, from a team in the W and don't have to go overseas and put their life in danger. There's a lot going on over there because, it's just a lot going on. I ain't even gonna blame it on who, but it's a lot going on over there. Yeah. So they can come make a decent living. And I think it should be more. You know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is.
Yeah, during the CBA, they agreed on to higher money, but I think they also need to go back and agree on to these women having to play as long, they can come out, they can be one and done like the men. Because some of them got enough skills, but they could be one and done. So I think they need to work on that.
Let me ask you this question. Because there's a lot of foreign players got drafted in the draft.
A whole bunch.
A few days ago. They don't have to play college ball.
No. But I guess whatever league they consider the in or play over there, overseas, I don't know what's going on with that. But
so they consider that pro ball.
I guess consider that, yeah.
It's still a weak rule, but okay.
Yeah.
But look, stay tuned as we track how this Supermax era changes the rest of the league. Is this the start of the $10 million player? Probably sooner than you think. So what you think of the Aces bringing in Carter alongside Asia? Does that make them untouchable for a 4P? I don't know. We finna find out. But let us know what you think in the comments. And remember, I'm Simbo.
I am CL.
You got to subscribe to get notified because guess what? We are famous.
Acer, no chaser. Yeah.
Bitch, we told him